and I am lucky to be the teacher of these fine musicians that you're going to hear tonight. Tonight's program is centered around the works and arrangements of Bob Phillips. Mr. Phillips is an author, composer, teacher, trainer, conductor, and innovator in string education. For 27 years in Saline, Bob built a string program with over 700 students that was a national model of excellence for all. Bob's groups performed at national and state conferences. He founded the folk fiddling ensemble, Saline Fiddlers Philharmonic, which under his direction gained an international reputation. Annually, they performed over 80 shows, as well as playing at the White House multiple times in the Midwest Clinic. He has served as the president of the American String Teacher Association and director of string publishing for Alfred Publishing. This year, the American String Teacher Association awarded him and his wife Pam the Distinguished Service Award, and the Midwest Clinic presented them both with the Medal of Honor. Bob has published over 200 works and authored over 25 book series for the use in the classroom, which I actually use, a lot of them, and so does Mrs. Myers. He has been our mentor and a great friend, and it's just my pleasure to welcome him back to Grand Haven. One of the books that I use is for Fiddle Club. Fiddle Club began just a month ago. We do Fiddle Club every year, and we do a practice once a week, 2:45 to 3:45, which is open for any 7th and 8th graders. So any student that wants to join can join us and have some fun with us. We play some Celtic and fun fiddle tunes. So I hope you enjoy this evening, and it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Bob Phillips here back to Grand Haven. All right, next on our program is our 7th grade orchestra combined. They actually meet separately, second hour and third hour. And today was our first time combining together under the direction of Mr. Bob Phillips, and we had a blast. So many laughs, so many fun stories, and so much learning that took place. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob Phillips, for inspiring us. The first piece we're playing is American Rounds. Here is Mr. Bob Phillips.
So, I had a great time today working with your students. They're terrific. The Grand Haven kids are always amazing. I was over at the high school last week working with the Chamber Orchestra a little bit. And so, how did I come to be in Grand Haven? Well, when I was in Saline for a lot of years, and my wife and I, and then when we left teaching to work for Alfred Publishing full-time, it's a remote job. I was a writer and editor for them, and so we don't have to be in, the main office was in California, but we could live anywhere we wanted. So we said, well, if we live anywhere we want, let's move to Grand Haven. So we did that. And we lived here for about 15 years. And then a few years ago, we moved to Hudsonville, and my wife had developed a long-term illness, and to live right next door to one of our daughters, who's an orchestra teacher in Hudsonville. In fact, two of them are orchestra teachers in Hudsonville. But we lived right over by the high school, and we had a great 15 years here, and we still spend a lot of time here and go to church here. So we're here all the time, at least on Sundays. Okay, so we're going to do a piece called American Rounds, and we decided to add a little special ending for you. So we're going to do this, it's several American folk songs, but we're going to put a rock and roll ending at the end. came on. Good. So they did a great job with that piece. That endings, that jumping up and down, now that I'm 69, it's not as easy as it used to be. A lot easier. And speaking of used to be, I had a fun moment today. So I walked in and I looked at the program and I saw this name, Joseph Harigers, and I thought, well, Harigers, that's not a super common name. And I happened to know that one of my former students lived in Grand Haven, Steve Harigers, and sure enough, it was his dad. So that was super fun. We got to connect a little bit today, and Steve, just so you know, I didn't tell many stories. If you don't tell any stories, I won't either, so we'll be good. It was a long time ago in Saline. Okay, so let me tell you a little something about the 7th grade orchestra. Wow, what a spectacular sound they're playing with. Oh my gosh, they are really, really playing well. And you know, last year was still a little bit of an abnormal year. It wasn't completely normal in post-COVID and all that, but still, they just absolutely are just doing a great job. And the reason for that is you're very lucky in Grand Haven. You have two absolutely spectacular string teachers, Tatiana and Melissa. The program is really well known around the state, and they do an absolutely incredible job. And I know they've got a little rebuilding to do, like everybody in America. I don't know if you know this, but music programs are down everywhere because of COVID, as are sports programs. Everybody's down, and they're all rebuilding. Now, the good news is it's all coming back, and where you can see that is in all the middle schools. Nationally, we were down in music programs about, I don't know, between 20 and 25% nationally. Of course, most of that happened within a 3-year period, not within the whole program. So, and then sports teams were very similarly affected nationally. Sports programs were all down quite a bit. So anyway, we are super happy to be back, and they're doing a great job, and this is the rebuilding year right here. This is the one that's going to carry it through the high school and really, really do it. Okay, so we're going to finish our part of the program, the 7th grade part, with a piece called Bella Boca Polka. It's not as easy to say as it sounds. But anyway, it was kind of written in the early 1900s, and it's a kind of classic polka kind of thing from Germany and Poland at that time, classical polka, if you will. And we're going to do something a little bit unusual with it. They learned it at one tempo, and when I got here, I said, you guys can play that faster than that. Let's go for it. So we'll see. We're gonna give it a whack because we decided the whole thing about today was we're gonna have fun. We're really gonna play with a big sound. We're gonna play exciting. And I told them if we miss a couple notes, that's okay, but we're gonna have fun and be exciting. So here we go. Bella Boca Polka. Oh well, sorry. Orchestra! Good job, you guys. Good job. Okay, so while they're moving, I'll fill time. So for the last series of years, many years now, I guess, I've been making my living as an educational composer. You might wonder what that is. Well, somebody has to write music and arrange music for school ensembles, whether they be bands, orchestras, choirs, marching bands, jazz bands, whatever. And so that's what I did. I ran a catalog for one of the major publishers in Los Angeles, and been writing for them for quite a while. And it's actually very interesting because there's a lot of people that do that. It's a kind of a niche thing, but there's still quite a few people that do it. And one of the most interesting parts of the job was not only just writing, and the way you can be an educational composer is you start writing music, but you have to know exactly what a seventh grade orchestra can play, exactly what the technical limitations are, and what you can do to make them sound good, that whole thing. That's what makes you successful in that world. But also what we did is we also arranged a lot of pop music. And so, whoops, careful, no broken cellos. So we also arranged pop music for these ages. And one of the things I did that was a lot of fun, if you've ever seen Trans-Siberian Orchestra, I've been their exclusive educational arranger for a number of years, and so that's been a lot of fun to work with those folks. And then the various movie studios and stuff, so like we worked on music from Lord of the Rings and all the Wonder Woman movie, you name it. And because all that music has to be arranged for these level ensembles. And it's super interesting working with those composers because most of them want to have control. They want to see exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it, and they'll tell you, yes, that's good, or no, I don't want you to do that, and so on and so forth. But anyway, that's a very interesting thing. We're not playing any of that kind of music tonight, but Tatiana decided to do a bunch of my music, and so that's kind of fun. So this, let's see, what are we playing first? Symphonia. So I'll just tell you, this piece we're about to play that Tatiana is going to conduct is called Symphonia by Johann Stamitz. Johann Stamitz was a contemporary of Mozart's, and he wrote a lot of great music. And this is actually the original. This movement is actually the original piece that he wrote at that time. This is not arranged or watered down in any way for middle school. This is actually the real deal piece that he wrote. And so I just shortened it a bit. But aside from that, it's the real deal thing. Are you ready? So this next piece is called Allison's Waltz. I wrote this a lot of years ago for my niece's wedding. She reminded me the other day by messenger that this piece is played a lot around the United States, and I said it was going to be at a concert where they were playing it, and she reminded me that she was married 28 years ago, so it's been a while. And it's just a really pretty folk waltz, and I worked on it with the kids a little bit, but Tatiana's doing a great job conducting. They were used to watching her, so we're going to have her conduct, and then I'll conduct the last piece. So one of the exciting things about watching your child participate in an orchestra program like this is the astounding progress they make year to year. You see 7 to 8 big progress, then you see 8 what? And when you watch them in high school, it's frightening how fast they go. I would also say that in terms of doing a little advocacy for the program, I don't think there's ever been a more important time for kids to be involved in this kind of activity for a lot of reasons. Social media, there's all kinds of reasons I think that they need to be doing hands-on things. But also, I would just tell you that many cultures, the reason they love to have their kids in music programs is because it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy, and you have to work. And there's no way around it. You have to learn. You have to have a work ethic. They can't do what they're doing without working. And the other part of that equation is that you have to do it step by step. I was talking to a head of the surgery program at a top 5 med school, and he was telling me one of the things they always look for when they have surgery candidates is kids that have music background. I said, well, that's interesting. Why is that? He said, well, because med school is filled with kids that are really smart and skip steps. He said in the surgery program, you can't skip steps, and music kids know that. You have to develop the muscle memory. You have to develop the skills. There's no skipping steps. You have to do the work. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I would also just I want to tell those of you that played in the fiddle group, or you might play next year. We did a really cool thing in Grand Haven this year that we had a couple of Grand Haven kids show up for, and it was really fun. So in early October, we had a camp out at Camp Blodgett, and it's a camp for adults called the Great Lakes Music Camp, run by Jason Wheeler, who was originally from Grand Haven. And he brings in the best players in the United States. Like, these are Grammy Award-winning players. I mean, these are, Nashville A-list players. And they come in and have this camp for adults. Well, this year, he asked me if I would start a youth academy, and I did, along with another person from Holland. And we had this great experience for the kids where they got to come in and really learn how to fiddle and do all kinds of different styles, bluegrass, Celtic, all kinds of things. And then the artists came in and interfaced with them and played for them and did things, and it was really special. It was really special. So be on the watch for that. Your teachers will let you know about it next year, because we had a great first year, and it's right here in Grand Haven at Camp Blodgett. So this next piece we're going to play is really hard. It's called Danza Española, and what you have to imagine, if you will, is if you've ever seen the movie Zorro with Antonio Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones, yeah, all that attitude they had with each other, well, that's all in this piece. And this is all very much in that Spanish style. And this is a piece I wrote about 5 or 6 years ago, I think, something like that. And it's very popular, played in a lot of, it's on a lot of state lists for contests and things like that. And we really worked on just being energetic, playing with fire, and big sounds, and you're going to hear that. They are a really terrific group. So, I guess Ms. Walters, I want to thank you for inviting me, and Ms. Myers, because this was really a ton of fun today, and it's just such a great group. So, okay, here we go. Danza Española. Thank you so much. It was so fun to see how far they came today and what the great preparation you did. It was really, really just heartwarming to watch how fantastic they were. And I know it's because of great parents. That's the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. That's why it happens. But the point is, we're lucky enough to get to work with great kids, and it was really fun. So good job.
We want to say